Welcome to the Desi Mom Hustle, the podcast that celebrates the strength, resilience, and wisdom of Indian working mothers. I'm your host, Tamanna, and today we are thrilled to have Sonali joining us. Sonali is a multifaceted wellness expert based in Bangalore, specializing in yoga, nutrition, and women's wellness. And sustainable fat loss coach, Sonali embodies her motto: stop wishing for a change, start working for it. Let's dive into Sonali's journey and discover how she balances her role as a wellness professional and a Desi mom. Welcome, Sonali.
Thank you, Tamanna. Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited for this podcast, and thanks for the brief about me.
Awesome. Let's jump into our first question. Uh, can you tell us a bit about your journey into yoga and wellness, and what inspired you to become a yoga instructor and wellness coach?
So I was not always into this field. It started 5 years back when I was struggling with my own health challenges. I was suffering with multiple chronic pain and inflammation in the body. I was in a job where I had to work for 9 to 10 hours in a stretch with no breaks. It was a sales job. So that time I joined a yoga class, for myself, for my own health. But as I started doing it, as I started, learning it, I got more interested, and that was not the first time that I did yoga. Of course, in the school days, in my childhood also, I was good at sport, yoga, and all those things. But now it was a different thing, right? So I started learning more about it. Then I gave it a more serious thought. I opted for a course in yoga teaching, and I did it. I did my first yoga certification in Bangalore, and I got few opportunities on a part time for teaching
Right.
yoga, taking few classes. That's when I realized that you can say it a calling, and I was naturally good at it. When I started teaching, people really thought that I have been doing this from years, whereas I was not. So I tried it for a few months, and that's when I gave a serious thought to quit my job and do it full time. So 5 years back, I quit my corporate career and I started to work as a fitness coach.
That's so interesting. In my interactions with you, the ऐसा नहीं लगता है that you just started 5 years back. Maybe मुझे ऐसा लगा you've been doing this for years. You have been a pre and postnatal yoga instructor, and now you're a mom yourself. So, what unique challenges do you see mothers facing during pregnancy and postpartum periods?
Mm-hmm. So the one challenge that I faced myself when I was pregnant with my son is not having so much awareness about how the pregnancy is going to change your physical and your mental health, right? Because traditionally in Indian families, how they treat you when you're pregnant, like they will mostly look after your
Right.
eating, that you should be resting and all, but there is a very little scope where your mental health is also discussed among the family members. That's what I felt. And also, I haven't seen anybody in my family before doing yoga, prenatal yoga, for that matter, during pregnancies. There was no awareness in my social circle as well about prenatal yoga. So after doing my basic certification course in yoga teaching, I went to do specialization in pre and postnatal yoga, which basically focuses on the prenatal exercises that a woman can do while she's pregnant. And it can help her in many ways. It is not just for the physical wellness, but it is for the mental wellness as well, right? It helps you relax. It helps you sleep better because that is those are the challenges where those are the challenges you'll face in your pregnancy: irregular sleep patterns, restlessness, stress, anxiety about the overall pregnancy and birth, how the birth process will be, all those thoughts, right? So when I learned prenatal yoga and I started teaching it, I could realize its benefits during pregnancy and also post pregnancy. Post pregnancy, to come out of the pregnancy, the whole pregnancy experience and the whole birth experience, I will not say it was like easier for me, but I was able to cope with it in no, in a better way, because I had learned the techniques to manage that stress and anxiety post birth as well. So yeah.
That's in your experience, how can yoga and meditation help working mothers manage their stress and finding balance in their lives?
Mm, I think it's super important for women, especially working women, and also if they are mothers, to just find time for themselves, for say yoga, meditation, or any sort of exercise for that matter. How it helps, I'll tell you. First of all, you learn to sit with yourself for the 10 to 20 minutes of the day, because otherwise you are never alone, right? Throughout the day, you are either with your family, your children, at your workspace, so you're always surrounded by people, you're always distracted, and you're really not concerned about what's going inside your mind, what's happening inside your mind, what is actually troubling you. And sometimes it also means that you're running away from the reality and the problems, and you're scared to face them, you're scared to face your own challenges. So yoga and meditation, if practiced, that really helps you to concentrate, come back to your own mental state, and also it also brings some sort of clarity in your day-to-day life, and it helps you cope up with your day-to-day problems better. You are in a better position to handle work at home or also in office. It basically makes you a more stable person, makes you a more, I would say, a stable person.
Whenever I talk to moms, especially for the podcast, everybody tells me that, I had so much of mom guilt when I started doing this. Obviously, you would have also faced your share of mom guilt. So, how did you overcome that? Because now you've come back to your yoga practice, you took a break and you come back
Yeah, yeah.
now practicing that. So,
And mom guilt is real, you know, and I'm sure even you have it too.
it comes. I remember one of my guests said, the minute you give birth to a child, you also give birth to mom guilt, and it
Yeah,
never goes away.
100%. 100%. I think you have it every day for some or other reason. You'll always think that you didn't do this thing right, and it could have been done in a different way or a better way, and you feel guilty of sometimes scolding your child. You feel guilty of not being present for them, if right, if you are a working mom. You feel guilty for so many reasons, and I am not an exception. I do feel guilty for so many things, but the best I can do is, just educate myself about what I can do better, right? And learn from my own experiences, learn from my child's behavior, you know, because every child is different. If I
Correct.
look at other children and if I start thinking that my child is not doing that or is not as good as them, then I will have a lot of guilt and also anger. One way of dealing with guilt is what I feel is by you should stop comparing yourself to other moms, comparing your children to other children, because each child is different. So you learn from your own experiences, to learn from their behavior, that what is good for them and what is good for their mental health, their growth, and everything. I mean, that's how I feel you can deal with the guilt. And it's a it's a part of motherhood. Guilt, you will feel guilty for some, you will feel guilty for different reasons, but only way out is just being aware and making sure that you don't repeat that pattern, or you don't repeat those mistakes, and you come out stronger.
That's a very nice answer. Sonali, so when you took a break, after giving birth, and then you came back into taking classes again, how was that experience? Like, did your outlook towards say pre and postnatal yoga both change? How, like, do you do things differently now?
Yes, 100%. So I took a long break actually because my kid had certain challenges. He needed certain treatments. So the first 2 years of, after birth, first 2 years of his uh, age was very difficult. When we found out about his diagnosis, from that day, I would say that I was very stressed and depressed about it. And that time, that was a very sensitive time,
Correct.
and I had almost given up on my yoga practice as well. So coming out of that dark phase and coming back to my practice was a very overwhelming experience. But when I came back and I started teaching, that's when I realized that this is what I needed the most, my self practice and also teaching. uh, Because that's where I feel that I am a better person and I can be better than this, right? And that's where I realized the importance of yoga in my life. You Yoga really helped me to come out of a very dark phase of my motherhood. Sometimes I wonder, why did I give that long break and why didn't I practice? Well, I gave a very long break from teaching. I took a very long break from teaching yoga for almost 2 years because I was not in a right shape. Mentally, I was not in the right position. But coming out of it was a very transforming experience. And of course, when you start doing what what you like, what you love the most, it automatically brings you a sense of purpose and a sense of happiness, is what I believe.
What a beautiful answer. In my case, when I had my first child, I also took a 2 years break. And like you said, at now when I look back, I'm like, why did I take that break? But I think
Correct, correct.
it's a part of the Indian culture, sort of, because you don't have support,
Yeah,
you don't know where to put your child. All of us, like, all Indian mothers, however educated we are, however aware we are, we want to do everything ourselves. Nobody can look after my child as much as I can, or
right,
as well as
right.
I can. So I think because of that, we end up taking this long break. And when we come
True.
back, then I should have done this earlier.
And we live in a setup where the parents are not always with us to look after the child. So that is one reason. And you want to do best for your child. So and it, even if it come at a cost of taking a long break, you just don't mind at that time.
Correct, correct. So Sonali, your motto is, stop wishing for change and start working for it. I love that. Like, when I was reading about you, I think this was the first time I read your motto. And I was very curious, about how do you apply this philosophy to
Hmm.
your personal growth and to motherhood as well.
So, I mean, and generally as human, we wish for so many things in life,
Correct.
right? Even when you already must be already having so many things and accomplishment in your name and all those things, but you still, as a human, you always want to be better, better than what you were, yesterday. But wishing, of course, is it's not a solution for it. Wishing is good part because that's where the thought comes and that's where you have a goal or a dream. But unless and until you don't take action for it, you don't stop working for it, you're not gonna have it, you're not gonna achieve it. So that's the reason I have put that in my bio. So you have to start taking baby steps towards it, towards your dream, whatever it is, small or big, doesn't matter. You need to take actions.
Correct.
Same applies to your fitness, your health, because I myself struggle a lot with my physical health post delivery. And I still feel that I'm not in my best shape and I can be more fit. So, but for a long time, I was just wishing for it, looking at, we will always look at the celebrity faces and, all those moms who immediately, just right after they give birth, they look so fit as if they had never been pregnant or delivered a child. So that is wishing part, right? That is not going to bring you the results
Correct.
that you want. So that's why I have written that start working for it. If you have a goal in your mind, a fitness goal or anything, a career related goal, just work towards it. Take baby steps, one step at a time.
That's actually interesting. What is one misconception according to
Mhm.
you, which people have about wellness related with motherhood
Mm.
or maybe with pregnancy?
One myth that I see women having after they become mom, that they can't have their pre-pregnancy fitness now, or no, they can't be fit now because they are moms. So but I feel that's to an extent it's certainly an excuse to try to avoid the hard work, the hard part of it, the exercise, diet and everything. Because as much as no, the diet part, especially how much we will look after it when we are pregnant, right? We'll try to eat everything that's good for the baby, that's good
Right.
for baby's growth, brain, everything. But as soon as we are moms, we no more look after our health, right? So the myth is that you can't have that fitness back now, since that you are a mom now. It's I think you can definitely be fit again if you just give some time to yourself and look after yourself. I know it takes time. It doesn't happen immediately, and you will also have no really uh, times in between. There will be days where you don't feel like doing anything. There will be days you just feel like giving up on yourself, giving up on everything. But I think it's very important that we come out of that misconception or myth about the post pregnancy or postpartum phase or body, and know that you can still be fit if you just set a right routine, have a good diet for yourself, and include some physical exercise in your routine.
So as a working person now, as a working mother now, how do you balance, your, that side of Sonali, which is working professional, and the mother Sonali? How do you create that balance?
I think I still haven't created any balance because I'm still working part time. I work in the hours where my baby is either in the play school or he's having his nap time. So I still haven't started the work in full fledged. So I still have a lot of time to myself for my baby. So that's why I'm able to find balance, but not set a strict routine yet.
That's I mean, yeah, he's still too young for you to come to that thing. But you are still able to do it, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
how did you come with that thing that Asha, now he's going to school now, you still have to be very disciplined to do it when he's not around. So
yeah,
how
yeah.
do you do that? Like when you have those 3 hours to yourself or two
Mhm.
hours to yourself, do you just leave all your ghar ka kaam apart and say, I will finish my yoga classes first and then do it? Like that is also like creating a balance, right?
Correct, correct, correct. Yeah, I had to do that. I have to give importance to things that matter, and that the things that I want to do in that time when he's not around me. Although ghar ka khana, kaam can be done even when he's around me. So I
Correct.
give priority to the things which can only be done when he's not
Hmm.
around, like my classes or my calls, and yeah.
So, what does self care for Sonali look like? What do you do for self care?
Self-care for me, which I recently realized, after not caring for myself for so long, self-care for me now is a good sleep, a good night's sleep, a 6 to 8 hours of sleep. It's still interrupted sleep, I will not say an uninterrupted sleep, and good nourishing home cooked food, because I feel for a long time I had a very irregular pattern of eating. Um, so good nourishing food, good sleep, and also not stressing about the things which are not in our control, which are not in my control. Especially, you will be so worried. As a mom, we are always worried about kids' future, their
Correct.
schools, their studies, everything. So those things are not yet in our control. I mean, to an extent, it is in our control, but worrying too much is not gonna help me. So I made it sure that I worry less about the things which are not in my control. And the fourth most important point is moving, stretching, exercising for my own physical and mental health. So that is self care for me.
I love this that we always worry, but we should let go of that thing that nahi ho raha hai, jaane do. It's
Correct, correct. And the child, I mean, he, as they start growing, I think you know it better than me. They have their own choices. They have their own preferences.
true.
So you never know. Things may not always go according to your plan. So why do you worry then.
True. True. Last question, before you need to hurry up and, run from here. If you have to give an advice to a younger Sonali, so what would that advice for the younger Sonali?
That's a tough question. I mean, I have many advices for her, but you.
You can give many advices. Who knows, the moms who are listening to this, they might benefit from your many advices. They might be in
Uh-huh.
the same situation.
I feel the one advice that I will definitely give myself is, take some time, take a pause before I make any decision. I always make decisions in rush. I don't think twice. I think after I make a decision, after I face the consequences. So that is one advice I want to give to my younger self, that think before you act, think before you say, think before you do something. Just give it a pause. They say that, a 30-second break, a 30 seconds of pause before you make any decision can change that decision for you forever, for your good. So that is the advice I want to give my younger self.
And a younger version of you being a mother. Any advice for that, Sonali? A new
Yeah,
mother, Sonali?
yes, yes, definitely. Um, know things before you just worry and act. So make yourself aware of things. For example, I did not know that how sugar can affect my kid's health, even though I did not give him unhealthy sugars, but yes, he was still having sugars, which as a result he developed a lot of cavities, and we are treating his teeth. He developed poor appetite, his growth was impacted. So I actually did not know how bad sugar can be for a toddler. So I became very aware of it. I try to educate myself that what is good and bad for their health, because it takes no time to take a toll on their health.
Yes,
Even before you know the consequences of your actions, they suffer it. So, and I
correct.
know mom want to see their child suffering and going under treatments after treatment. So I learned that hard way, that make yourself aware, educate yourself, see doctors on time, have regular appointments with dentists, kids dentists, even kids ophthalmologists. Nowadays, kids are watching a lot of screens, so
Yes.
their eyes are like very delicate. They shouldn't be exposed so long. So have regular appointments, regular checkups with their doctors. That's I learned that hard way, I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sonali, for doing this and giving some beautiful insights related to wellness and motherhood and connecting them. I had an amazing time talking to you.
Same here, same here. Thanks for having me today, and it was fun doing this.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a good day.